Greetings, my galactic greaseballs! Your spacey sidekick Sugar Pants here once again with another rubbish reel. Today's gooey gob is 1991's Dead Space. Not to be confused with the video game franchise of the same name. This one's all about a space cowboy who picks up a distress call and heads to a planet where a research team is working on a nasty experiment that gets out of control and starts killing everyone. And if that synopsis sounds familiar to you regular viewers, you should know up front that this movie is a remake of 1982's Forbidden World, which I reviewed all the way back in year one. Which raises the question, is the remake better or worse? Another question would be, was a remake even necessary? Let's fire up those retro rockets and initiate docking procedures while Abraxas gives us the full details in our sleaze docket.
We have 7 dead bodies, 1 aggressively deactivated robot, 3 cups blood, 2 naked breasts, sweaty Mark Singer, sassy 90s robot, Corman recycled assets. Twice for this show, but it's the 6th time for Corman. 2 space sauna sessions, skin-tight future space jammies, stupidly infected finger wound, pre-Heisenberg Bryan Cranston, 3 exploded ships, nostril-penetrating hatchling, chest-exploding monster puppet, I'm getting a bad feeling cliche, kill me cliche, I'm already dead cliche, ominous coffin cliche, harp gliss dream transition cliche, prophetic dream cliche, monster is obviously not dead cliche, bone saw to the chest, scalpel to the finger, face scratchy, head rip decapitation, one mercy execution, gentle shoving death, flaming puppet death, aggressive puppet wrestling, aggressive stretcher stabbing, completely unnecessary cliff climbing, cartoon ricochet sound effects, and bed-bursting monster.
Alright, so here's the review. Dead Space is almost a complete shot-for-shot, beat-for-beat remake of Forbidden World, but is way worse in practically every single way. Wait. That's taking the easy way out, and that's not what this show is about. You at least deserve an explanation as to how it's worse. Biggest checklist I can give you, there's less blood, less slime, less gross special effects, less hot naked space flesh. But there is 100% more Bryan Cranston, if that means anything to you. So let's run through this flimsy forgery. Our movie begins in a lab. The nameless lab coat jockey nicks himself with a scalpel and then decides it's a great idea to open the sealed incubator and mop up the contained mess with a fresh hand wound. He gets on the intercom to inform Mr. White what's going on.
All right, we'll be right there. Don't touch anything.
The 2 other scientists immediately head down the hallway where the first dude is already dead and messy. After the incredibly basic bitch opening credits lacking any color or even font types, we open on a steamy egg-looking thing. Oh, it's just our hero having a schwitz. Take it all in, folks. We won't be getting much skin in this one, and this is the vast majority of it. This is Commander Krieger. He's like galactic security out on patrol. His robot co-pilot interrupts the sauna to inform him they've received a distress call.
We've had an accident. It's out of control. We need help. We've had an accident. Anyone, respond. Please respond.
Apparently, Jeanette of the Chipmunks had moved on from the group for a more scientific career. Seriously, though, it's never explained why the distress call gets shifted up into cartoony levels. Krieger immediately sets course for the research facility when the ship is attacked by space pirates. And we reuse the effects from Battle Beyond the Stars just like they did in Forbidden Planet. which is pretty amazing even by frugal Roger Corman standards. Not only are they reusing the story, but the exact same effects as well. Corman's such a master of recycling, they should have given him a cameo on Captain Planet. Well, Eclectic Hawk 4790, it took me a couple of years, but I finally got around to using your joke. So thanks, buddy. Anyway, we've seen all of this before, so let's just skip it and get to the planet. Our duo has a rough landing and are welcomed by a couple of the scientists. Dr. Stoat informs Krieger that the call was a false alarm, but the radio had malfunctioned before they could send a second message. Unfortunately, Krieger's ship took some damage during the fight, and they're not leaving anytime soon. Krieger and Tin Pan here meet with the facility's staff, and we find out they are working on a cure for the deadly Delta 5 virus. Dr. Darden reminds us all of the fact that Delta 5 renders our immune systems useless. Great. So, space AIDS. I wonder if that's better or worse than space herpes. Dr. Salinger says she's responsible for the distress call and insists it wasn't a mistake. The experiment specifically was made to change and evolve to adapt to fighting the space AIDS. Unfortunately, something went horribly wrong. The meeting includes showing off the fleshy, creepy meatball in the science lab, while the docs explain that the virus needs fresh cells in order to mutate, which is why it changed once it got a taste of the idiot from the prologue. Devin watches as the meatball hatches open, shatters the incubator glass, and we watch the whole crew react to the thing running around the room and ceiling. Get used to this technique, because we'll see it a lot, since having actors look around is a lot cheaper than having camera-ready special effects. Suddenly, Devin screams and covers her face. She falls to the floor, and we see the hatchling forcing itself up her nose. They carry her to the infirmary for emergency surgery, where Krieger is just milling about. No scrubs, no surgical gear. Just a filthy space cowboy who hasn't had a shower recently, breathing in a sterile room. Anyway, the body starts twitching and a nasty, toothy beastie emerges from Devin. Krieger takes a few shots as it runs across the room. Or rather, as Krieger watches it run across the room and escape into the vents. We have another brief meeting to keep dropping breadcrumb details about what it is and that it'll keep mutating every time it gets fresh cells. Then Darden coughs for no apparent reason. Awesome. So knowing that this movie is basically going beat for beat alongside Forbidden World, I assume whatever he's got will be the only thing that can stop the monster. The team runs through the compound, shutting the vents to trap it in, and I have to ask, in a compound built on an uninhabitable, toxic planet, is it a good idea to shut down the air ducts? No surprise, now that everyone has split up into smaller teams, the beastie attacks. Sal wrestles with a rubber puppet for a while before it escapes back into the air vents. Unfortunately, Sal's face got a little bitched up and he drops to the floor. And with it now trapped in the vents, Dr. Stoat suggests everyone pair up and try to get some sleep. Hey, I've heard flimsier excuses to give our cast some sexy alone time. Jill and Tim have a little friendly massage session, which totally won't lead to anything more, right?
I want to do this for you.
Which all us scumbag dudes know is the massage version of just the tip. Oh, but don't get too excited. This is literally all you're going to see from these two. Krieger and Marissa pair up, and the two fall asleep on separate sides of the room. We get a heart gliss to a silent face washing, and I guess we're supposed to pretend this isn't an obvious dream sequence. We get a little PG-13 fun, just enough to tick the boxes. Then we skip to the nightmarish afterglow. Krieger attempts to comfort Marissa when suddenly the viral beastie attacks through the bed. But the plot armor is fully activated, and neither ends up with so much as a scratch before the creepy crawly bursts through yet another fucking vent window exit. At least we actually got to see the exit this time instead of our heroes just watching it escape. Our team heads out with guns to track the thing down, and we catch up to it, only it's gone through some changes. A much larger puppet takes a few shots, flails around for a bit, and then clumsily escapes once a fucking again, only this time it gets out to the planet's surface. Fine, great, awesome, leave it alone. Fix the goddamn ship and let's get out of here. No, we're not going to do that because reasons. Krieger suits up to go out into the toxic planet's surface in an outfit that doesn't require any breathing apparatus. Apparently, it's just on this side of the toxicity line, and a human can survive for 20 minutes before beginning to hallucinate and die. Just like in Forbidden World. Christ. How I'd rather be actually watching that again instead of this lesser version. However, Dead Space does one thing during the external sequence that Forbidden World didn't. And that's show off the cars parked along this cliff on this completely uninhabited planet. So now that there's no question that this thing is just going to be the RC Cola version of Forbidden World, let's just hit the high points. The beast ends up going back into the compound through a giant air vent, but not before attacking Jill, who went out to try and help. They find it cocooned and growing in the computer room, and one of the idiots tries to communicate with it, leading to his totally unnecessary death. We find out Darden has the Delta 5 disease, and donates his infected blood to fill some tranq darts since the diseases are hostile to each other. They try to use the darts to save Krieger, and it's that exact moment that Darden succumbs to his disease. I think. But his sudden death distracts Stoat, who gets grabbed by the monster for an off-camera death. Krieger picks up Darden's dead body and hoists it up for the beastie, and we get a pretty decent head-rip decapitation as the monster chows down. It starts wailing and thrashing about, and then one last fucking time makes a beeline for the nearest breakable exit. Only this time it takes a few attempts to get out. Krieger follows it to finish the job and finds it just as it dies. But it's a fucking horror movie in the 90s, so it's gotta come back for one last attack. A pair of mini viral bastards pop out of the mess, and Krieger watches them take off. They make it to Marissa in the medical ward. One attacks Krieger, while the other tries to give Marissa another bed-burst attack. Krieger kicks the creep across the room and chucks a bottle from the nearby wall rack, which causes the thing to burst into flame and die a slow, shaky death. Damn. Whatever that shit was sure was fucking effective. Too bad we'll never know what it was or hear any reason at all as to why they never used it earlier in the fucking movie. Meanwhile, Marissa stabs the ever-loving fuck out of the second monster with one of the Darden darts.
Bitch is hardcore.
We cut to a shot of space, and then to Krieger and Tin Pan at the helm of his ship. He joins Marissa in the space sauna to tell her they're just 14 days away from base operations. She says she doesn't want to do that, and they should instead go home. Krieger says,
"This is my home."
And we pan away to the end credits. Jesus, what a disappointing bore. To be fair, Dead Space probably would have gotten a better score from me if it was an original movie. It's really not all that bad, but it is rather boring and slow at times. Unfortunately, it suffers from the fact that it's literally just a worse version of an already awesome, trashy sci-fi flick. Forbidden World is better in every single way. Maybe Roger Corman had a good reason for wanting this movie to be remade and it just fell apart. Or maybe he just wanted to crank out one extra movie for 1991 and decided to do this in 17 days rather than do something new. It's really a shame this one turned out as dull as it did, but it's literally a been there, done that ripoff. The only thing it has of value is getting to see Bryan Cranston in his earlier years of acting. But it's still like the 24th listing on his acting credits, so it doesn't even have the cuteness of being his first speaking part or anything like that. He's there, and he's pulling his weight, but who cares when everything about the movie is just a tedious retread? Mark Singer played our space cowboy Krieger, and everyone should definitely know him as Dar, the Beastmaster, or as Mike Donovan from V. He was also in Beastmaster 2 Through the Portal of Time, as well as Beastmaster 3, The Eye of Braxus.
What's up?
What?
You just said my name. I assume you needed me?
Oh, no. I said Braxus, not Abraxas.
Awesome. I've got macaroni burning on the stove.
How are you stirring the pot?
Don't worry about it.
Oh, well anyway, I suppose that'll do for this round of rotten recreation. So until I find another feculent feast for us all, this is your viral virtuoso Sugar Pants. See you in your dreams.
I'm Commander Steve Krieger.
Are you addressing me? Because your authority is not recognized in Fort Kickass.